it's going for 150. When somebody goes to their bank or the real estate person that goes through the bank, however they're going to do it, and they have the money to move on this house, why does it take the bank to release that house?
Well, the biggest reason is because, first off, the bank usually doesn't own the paper on that house. They don't own the mortgage itself. That mortgage has been sold off into the secondary market. So they don't have the ability to just make a decision right then and there on the offer that was presented. It has to go through and see what the value of the property is. And they have some due diligence to see, is a client really in a distressed position to authorize the short sale. Mm-hmm. And if they are, then they send up all the paperwork to the negotiator or to the investor and see if they'll okay the short sale.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was looking for, you know?
The other side of that, too, is also, think about this. If you owned your own business and everything you did was taking a $150,000 loss, would you put a whole bunch of people out there to sell that $150,000 loss?
Right. No, but everybody has access to the information about the houses, right?
Well, they do, but if they can kind of maybe mitigate how fast the market's moving on short sales, how fast they're taking the losses, maybe it prevents the property values from going down even further. There's a whole strategy with the banks.
I was going to say, even to the contrary of what Bev was asking, there's even situations where not only does the homeowner not have the opportunity to buy it, but they pay even more for the short sale to go through. I know situations where maybe they had to pay $10,000 more just because they really need to get out of that house.
Well, if a client was presented from the bank to pay something to get out of their house, they need to call somebody else to negotiate for them.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Because I've heard that.
Really, it should be.
I know people that have done that.
I would say the best slogan that I've heard out there, it should be a no-cost short sale. Because there's no cost to the seller. If they call us, there's no cost to the seller for us to do their short sale. The bank picks up all the costs.
Because the bank is not interested in owning a house.
That's correct. And that's part of the reason that it takes so long for them to move on foreclosure on people is because the bank doesn't want to foreclose truly. Mm-hmm. But it's a necessity that they have to. After a while, people just can't live for free there. So.
Okay.
So if a house has been vacant and on the market for, let's say, a year, and the price keeps coming down every couple months, why would it still take that long to process?
It's really hard to say why it's taken that long in that particular case without knowing each individual case. It's hard to say.
And mainly it's because it isn't priced right.
Yeah, it's not priced right to begin with. A lot of agents don't understand the market, and they'll price a short sale house at, today's market when really you have to be a little bit ahead of it because people don't want to offer on short sales because they take so long. Mm-hmm. So if you price it just a little bit below market, you're going to get more offers. Mm-hmm. Because it takes so long, the person who usually puts in the first offer usually doesn't wait around for that to be accepted. They've moved on and bought another house.
Right.
So hopefully you have a couple of other backup offers there. And you get the backup offers by pricing it correctly. So.
That's pretty interesting, isn't it?
They've got a lot of interesting information, you guys. You'll need to tune in next Saturday, a week from tomorrow, to 10:50 a.m. at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to hear Bob and Randy talk about this and call in with your questions.
Right, and the name of their program is Realtor Talk with Bob and Randy. I love that. Short and sweet.
We'll be excited to answer all your questions.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So it's nice to have these guys on board.
I know. I have a million questions for them.
I do too.
Yeah.
So we'll call.
Yeah.
Well, all right, now since we talked about the short sales a little bit, what else is new? What
is there any good news?
Yes. We want to hear something happy.
Well, the good news I think that everybody's really hearing is that the new programs that the banks are having for refinancing people. So that's in the banking industry, in the mortgage industry, they're being able to do some refinances above 100% loan to value with virtually no qualifying. As long as I think you haven't been late on your mortgage, you can get refinanced and get into today's interest rates. So if you had a 6% when you signed your loan, you can maybe get down into a 4%, 3.875 today.
4.125 right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's pretty good.
I'm in the process.
Yeah.
But I am not taking any cash out
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm just lowering my interest rate.
Yeah, take advantage of the market today with that, and lower your house payment and pay that house off sooner.
Exactly.
Right, and then the money that you're saving on that payment, take that extra cash, don't spend it, stash it away.
Or go on a cruise.
Or go on a cruise with us next
the one
April.
In May.
Right.
No, that's so you do some repairs and upgrades on the house is my idea.
May 5th.
Or paying ahead.
Or pay down those high-interest credit cards.
That's another good thing.
I am so good at not doing the credit card thing.
Yes. Well, I was taught many, many, many years ago from my mom and dad, what you do is your business. And if you fall on your tush, don't ask either one of us for nothing because you did it. You get yourself out. And that's the way my children were raised, and it's working.
And I was raised that everything is negotiable, right, guys?
Pretty much.
Everything is negotiable, including your credit card. And I got on the phone, and I lowered my interest rate considerably. My sister asked me yesterday, how'd you do that? I got on the phone, and I bugged and I asked, and it was amazing. I got one down from 29% to 6%, and just the other day I got one down to 9% because I want to pay them off.
And the wheel gets agrees.
Yeah, yes. And so even your realtor can negotiate things for you, and they're negotiable, right? Everything's negotiable. So.
Everything's negotiable, and I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges with real estate agents today in the short sale market is they're a little bit afraid to do that negotiation. Because of my banking background, we actually have contacts with all the major banks, and I mean all the way to the executive offices. So when we struggle negotiating with the negotiator, we simply just tell them, look, we're going to give you one last chance to help us out here, or we're calling the president of your company.
Wow. Ooh. So it's good to, when you're checking for the right realtor, find out what they can do for you. How are they going to make things happen?
Exactly. If you ask a realtor to represent you on your short sale, and while you're interviewing them, if you ask them, who's the president of the company of which holds my mortgage, and if they can't answer off the top of their head, they're probably not the person you need negotiating your short sale.
So what other maybe 2 questions are really important when you're looking for a realtor?
Well, I would say always interview a couple, 2 or 3. And it's not about, if it's a standard sale, you want somebody that can justify the market value and the price they can get for you. If it's about short selling, what is their background in banking? Are they afraid to actually call up and speak to a banker? Or are they going to hand it off to a third party and have the third party negotiate? If they do that, do they really have control of the file? Probably not. They're letting a third party go out there and negotiate, and they're just hoping that they get it done. About 60% of all short sale listings go to foreclosure. In our office, we close 93% of all short sales.
That's pretty good.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Very impressive.
So, in other words, I can say this without getting trouble on the air. So, in other words, you guys, when something like this happens, sir, in your neck of the woods, because I know each realtor has a certain area that he or she could deal into, when they come to you in your neck of the woods, which is a huge, big area, you guys will go to bat for them and with the kahunas and everything else, and you get it done, right?
Absolutely.
There you go. See, that's another reason to call these guys.
Bev, I wanted to add, there's really 2 principal advantages for a homeowner who's in trouble with their payments and they're trying to decide what to do. There's 2 principal advantages for them to do the short sale. One, if they don't, they're going to get a foreclosure on their credit report. Mm-hmm. That's going to dog them for 8 to 10 years. Any kind of credit cards they want to get, car loans, anything, are going to, if they can get the credit, they're going to pay a higher interest rate. Many employers nowadays are also checking credit reports, particularly if you're in your job related to finance.
Right.
So that's the main thing, is to keep the foreclosure off your credit report, because you can buy again sooner if you don't get a foreclosure and you do a short sale. So that's a principal advantage. The other is that we can keep the homeowners in the property longer. If a short sale takes 6 months to a year, in some cases, for it to finally be consummated and closed, that means the homeowner is going to live in their house another 6 months to a year, be able to save more money for whatever their next step is and wherever they want to go from there. So those are the 2 principal advantages: stay in your house longer and avoid the foreclosure. That's the 2 main reasons why you want to do a short sale.
That makes perfect sense.
That is great advice, and I didn't know that myself. So that's that's really good for everybody to know.
Now, how long, if they're going to start going through that process, and like you said, they could stay in for 6 months to a year, what is, and probably everybody's different, but what's the longest time one can stay in that property or in that house until they actually have to vacate? Is there like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? What is it?
Well, it has a lot to do with the bank, or actually, just to digress a little bit, the bank, as soon as they make your mortgage loan, the first thing they do is they put it together with a whole bunch of other loans. They call it bundling, and they sell that to a secondary lender. That lender buys that entire portfolio of all those bundled loans. They then create mortgage-backed securities, which are sold on Wall Street, and re-raise capital so that they have more money to lend again.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, I just think that would be an incentive to hurry it all up.
So what happens is these investors who buy those loans, okay, the bank that you send your payment to is what's called the servicer. They just collect the payment, they take a little pinch out of it, and the rest of it goes back to the investor or investor group that owns the loan. So when we do short sales, the bank is mainly a middle person, an intermediary between the homeowner and the investor. And we work with the bank as the negotiator on behalf of the homeowner. Nice. So that we can get the bank to get the short sale approved by the investor. And the investor's main thing is, the main thing that on a short sale is there a hardship? That's the main thing that will qualify you for a short sale. There has to be death, divorce, job loss, job transfer, health situation, something like that caused you to get behind on your payments. That's the first requirement. Then they want a couple months bank statements, a couple months paycheck stubs, a couple years tax returns, along with the hardship letter. Then we send them the offer that we receive along with the homeowner's paperwork. The bank then does an appraisal on the property so they know where to negotiate from, and that's when the real negotiation begins.
Now, with all of this going on, too, and there were so many people in the military, and a lot of them that were overseas, and they were in the same predicament where they were losing their house for one reason or another. Now, since all of them are coming back, is there something special that you can do for the people that got into that jam since they were in the military?
Well, if it's a current situation where they're behind on their payments, we would just move ahead with them and do a regular short sale. As part of the new Attorney General settlement with the banks, that the 35 Attorney Generals across the United States just finished negotiating, there's a special provision for service people that lost their house while they were overseas, and many of them may get reimbursed for the entire cost of the loss of their home.
Well, good.
So we'll have more details on that in our upcoming show on Saturday at 1, Real Estate Talk with Bob and Randy.
And that's next Saturday right here on KCAA 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind. Well, gentlemen, stay there. We're going to be right back with you, okay? And talking about all of these quick, lovely things, and to save your houses, you know what we ought to be talking about, Jeff? He was with us last week on the SmartApps.
Yes.
Yes. Now, if you're going to get a new house,
say that 10 times. Just kidding.
How fast you want it?
Yes. We had Jeff in last week, and he had a lot of information to share, and he's with Pacific Sunset Mobile Apps. Now, not only it's been around for a while, in the public sector, but I read something today about Rancho Cucamonga, and Mayor Dennis Michael there announced that they have an app now for their government services, and that's RC to Go. So that city, you can, if you have an iPhone, an iPad, you can get on there and find out what government services are offered on your phone, like registering for classes, finding local restaurants, reporting graffiti, and they host lots of other city services that you can do from your mobile device. So there's, another reason to have those smart apps.
Yes. And it's nice because you can say, I'm smart because I have a